Hi Kanan, good evening. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine, sir. How about you?
Very good. After a long time, we are meeting, and
Yes.
today we are going to have a reading session with you
Okay.
on the topic Michelangelo, taken from your English book. All right?
Yes.
Yeah, so we can start reading.
Michelangelo. Michelangelo was a famous painter, sculptor, and poet who lived near 500 years ago in Italy. During this time, there was a many brilliant artists in Italy, like Leonardo da Vinci and Raphael princes and leading citizens of the big Italian cities, as well as the poets who heard the Christian church, encouraged and supported these artists.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you read. I
Yes.
will also read for you. See,
Okay.
this is how you have to read. Okay.
Yes.
Michelangelo was a famous painter. You find a short pause, you find a comma there, right? So you have to
Yes.
stop there for a little while. Sculptor and poet who lived nearly 500 years ago in Italy. During this time, there were many brilliant artists in Italy like Leonardo da Vinci and Raphael. Princes and leading citizens of the big Italian cities, as well as the popes who head the Christian church, encouraged and supported these artists. So from this we understand that Michelangelo was one of the famous painter and a sculptor and
Poet.
also a poet who lived in a country called Italy.
Italy.
Okay, already in that time, during that time, there were great, brilliant artists in Italy. All right, yeah. So Michelangelo looked in surprise at the Pope. But I am a sculptor, not a painter. I have never used colors in the way you wish me to. The Pope replied with finality, "You will do as we wish, and it is our wish that you attempt this task." So now, Kannan, I think they are trying to give him a work. Okay.
Okay.
So the Pope is the head of the Roman Catholic Church. All right. In those
Okay.
days, the Pope was very powerful.
Hmm.
So Michelangelo was given a work to do. So Michelangelo nodded and backed out of the room. His steps led him to the Sistine Chapel. It had a vast ceiling full of nooks and corners. Michelangelo had just been asked to paint a fresco on it. Alright?
Okay.
So, fresco means watercoloring painting on wet plaster
Okay.
on a wall or ceiling, in which the colors set in the plaster as it dries.
Uncle, and Septum Chapel means what, Uncle?
Sistine Chapel is the
Yeah.
name of the chapel. Chapel means a prayer house.
Oh,
All
okay.
right.
Michelangelo Buonarroti was born in Florence, in Italy, in 1475. He belonged to a dynastic
Distinguished family.
distinguished family distinguished family. Michelangelo loved to draw even while he was very young. So,
In spite.
in spite of his father's disapproval, he began to learn from the artist Di Meno
Domenico
Demo
Ghirlandaio.
Domenico Ghilandaio. He taught Michelangelo all that an artist ought to know about colors,
Uh,
form, and lines. But Michelangelo did not wish to remain a painter. His secret desire was to work on stone. He wanted to paint, not to sorry, he wanted to sculpt, not paint. At this time, Lorenzo De Medici, as an important citizen of Florence, started a school for sculptors. The best sculptor at this time would be teaching there. To Michelangelo's delight, he gained admission to this school. At last, he had found the opportunity to work not me-
Merely.
merely on stone, but also on marble.
Very good. So from this Kannan, what you understand is Michelangelo belonged to a very distinguished family, which means he belonged to a very rich family. Michelangelo loved to draw even while he was very young. Okay, so he had a desire to draw. All right, so he started learning it from the artist Domenico Ghirlandaio. All right.
Okay.
So, but he wanted to not remain a painter. His secret desire was to work on stone.
Okay.
So, when you work on stone, you are called as a sculptor. Okay. So, at this time, Lorenzo De Medici, an important citizen of Florence, started a school for sculptors.
Okay.
The best sculptor at this time would be teaching there. To Michelangelo's delight, he gained admission to the school.
Oh.
So, at last, he found the opportunity to work not merely on stone but also on marble.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Michelangelo's first piece of sculpture was on marble. He depicted Mary. He depicted Mary mourning over the lived body of Jesus Christ after he had been crucified. The pit, as the stage was called, had been sculpted before by many an artist, but Michelangelo's depiction of Mary soaring was unlike anything the people of Florence had even seen. Ever seen. Mary's face, youthful and filled with pain, moved people's hearts.
People's hearts.
People's hearts, as they saw this work of genius almost come alive before their eyes.
Very good.
Okay.
So now, the first piece of sculpture was on marble.
Yeah.
So, what is the sculptor he's doing?
It is Mary. Okay, Mary
Mourning over the limp body of
Jesus.
That's
Right.
you find in the picture here.
Yeah.
Okay, so many people have already done this sculpture, but Michelangelo's depiction of Mary's sorrow was unlike anything, which means nobody has done it like this before. Okay, so Mary's face, youthful and filled with pain, moved people's hearts as they saw this work of genius almost come alive before their eyes. Okay. Yeah.
Michelangelo, happy with his work, wanted to follow up on his triumphs. He saw an enormous block of marble lying in the yards of Florence. It loomed so huge and white that he felt compelled to carve as marvelous human figure out of it. The only problem was that it had a huge crack. Sculptors afraid that the whole block would crack wide open and crumble if they started chipping at it and not dare to touch it for years. Michelangelo wanted to create something very rare out of the glistening white stone, a perfect human form. The image of David battling Goliath came to his mind.
Yeah.
He decided to carve out such a figure of the heroic shepherd boy as had never been done before. Other sculptors
had never been done before. After that, there is a full stop. So you're reading together. All right.
Yeah.
Now you start fresh. Other sculptors
had shown a merely
courageous
David,
uh,
who had killed a giant, but he would create a noble and
valiant youth, deep
deep
deep in thought.
filled with wisdom as well as strength.
Very good. So now he has already done one sculpting work,
Yeah.
which was Mary and Jesus together, right?
Yes.
Which was become a great what do you call it? It became a great hit with the people. Now he wanted to do one more. He wanted to follow up on his triumph. Triumph means he's already done a victory job. Okay, so the only problem was that it had a huge crack. So sculptors are afraid that the whole block would crack wide open and crumble if they started chipping at it. So they have not touched it for many years. So Michelangelo wanted to create something very rare out of the glistening white stone, that is a perfect human form. The image of David battling Goliath came to his mind. So he decided to carve out such a figure of the heroic shepherd boy as had never been done before. So other sculptors had shown a merely courageous David who had killed a giant. But here he is creating a different kind of sculpture that would create a noble and valiant youth, deep in thought, filled with wisdom as well as strength. So now he is moving on to the second sculpting work. First sculpting work was Mary and Jesus.
Yeah.
Mary weeping over the dead body of Jesus. Now David battling Goliath is the second sculpting work he is doing. Alright?
Uncle.
Yeah.
And who was David?
David is a shepherd boy,
Okay.
and he was from the country of Israel. When he was a shepherd boy, there was a war between Israel and the Philistines.
Okay.
At that time, there was a huge giant called Goliath
Okay.
who was challenging the Israelite people. So David, who was a young boy, okay, wanted to fight the Philistines. Okay, he didn't have any weapons or anything. Even the king was afraid, but he just took a catapult. Okay, so with a sling and small marble stones, he was able to defeat the great Goliath.
Oh.
Okay, so he brought victory for the people of Israelites. All right, so that's why, and after that he became the king of Israel.
Okay.
All right, and he has written so many books in the Bible. The most important book is the book of Psalms.
Okay.
150 chapters. He had mostly sung the Psalms.
Okay.
Okay, so David became a very great man. All right.
Yes.
Yeah. So now you understood who is David, right?
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah.